Recording is on.
It is the 6th of March 2026, and we are very lucky to be here with Yishi. Yishi is an industrial designer who has decided to dedicate her time and her energy to helping to improve the user experiences of hardware wallets. And she's going to walk us through today her design thinking around redesigning Seedsigner. We've never done anything like this in the Bitcoin design community before. So Yishi's really leading this. The recordings will be posted on YouTube, Sats. Um, she's really leading this experience with her design thinking, and we're super grateful to have her here and to learn from her, more importantly. And maybe we'll have more hardware wallet redesign sessions. Who knows? And with that, I would like to thank Yishi for her time being here with us, and I'm handing it completely over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mo, for inviting me. Very excited for this session too. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay. So how do I make it? Anyway. I'll just do it this way. So today I'm gonna present and what I'm gonna talk about is my design process with my very quick project with Seedsigner, because I basically did this in a week. And when I was planning it, I'm like, maybe I can talk this to someone who don't have a design degree and don't know how to design, but they still want to do something physical and maybe want to do a product. So I feel like I can talk about something in that perspective to benefit who wants to learn how to do industrial design. And to start, I'll introduce myself a little bit. So I am an industrial designer. I have two of my favorite latest work show on the right. There's a water kettle, and the one on the upper left is my design for BitX. I'm currently working with BitX team to develop their next generation too. My I'd say my position is pretty similar, where I see myself designing Seedsigner 2, is that if I can give them a better look, they can potentially attract more users or people's interest, and which will obviously help the project to grow. And also, I am an artist and feminist. The illustration is my feminist and artist work. So it's more like imagine piece to imagine how the world will be if it's a more feminist world. And one thing I found very interesting is I feel that there's a lot of common in feminism and Bitcoin, because they're all somewhat against patriarchy and trying to build something new that maybe have never existed before. For example, decentralization is something I found very feminism in Bitcoin core value. All right, I'll jump to the design process. So, as I said, this Seedsigner project is very quick, and my goal of doing it is just to show what I can do to make a Bitcoin wallet look better and function better. And I'm when I was building this presentation, I'm thinking someone who is listening probably won't have the same goal as me, and you probably want to build a product which is your own product. And so the goal of the design is always to start a conversation, like I listed on the right, because industrial design is never a thing you can do by yourself. So everything you do is just to be a conversation starter with maybe an engineer or maybe another designer or a factories. So just keep that in mind, and that's why I'm a lot of the time I think it will be beneficial to keep the design process very short. And so my design process, basically I spent the discovery, aka research phase in 1 day. And then I have my concepts. I explore what concept can be a good fit for the product for Seedsigner for 2 days, and then I do my design refinement for 3 days because I did some 3D printing. Also, I did the 3D modeling as well, and that's why that kind of make my design refinement phase a little bit longer, but you can definitely do it in a shorter time. And I'll go deep dive into all the process just right after. All right, so my goal of this sharing is trying to help those who don't know how to communicate your creativity non-verbally. And yeah, and the next page, I'll just start to talk about my design process in details, say what I did and what I think will be like the guideline for each phase, and also what think will be helpful in each stage. So first one is the discovery. So the discovery phase, there's basically 3 questions I and everyone have to answer is why you're designing it, and who are you designing for, and how do you want it to be. So for me, when I was designing Seedsigner, I'm thinking, why am I designing it? Because for me, it's an open source project I want to contribute in. I just like to work with open source project because it's a more like an open community, and I can basically do whatever you want and post it online, and no one, like everyone will be like, oh, good, looks nice, and they're very welcome. And also another reason is that I know that I can give a better look to attract more people to use it, which I think is always lack in most of the Bitcoin projects. And the second question is, who are you designing for? So for me, for this project, I just want to improve the form for the existing users. And for some other projects, maybe you want to expand your audience. You want to expand the existing users, and you can do something different than what I did right now. So also in this target user defining who are designing for question, I find it very helpful to have AI involved, because AI can always give you the answer that most people think is right, which is the thing we want in designing things. And then next is how you want it to be. This is a more open question and does is not necessarily have a good or right answer. So for me, I want Seedsigner to have a clean look, and I want it to be very easy assembled, and I want to keep the Seedsigner existing branding. And the reason I want it to be easy assembled is because I know who I'm designing for. They're like technical DIY enthusiasts. So they don't mind assembling things, and they actually love assembling things. And also they are like very serious about self-custody peoples who are using Seedsigner. So I want it to be like very easy to open it up to see what's inside. So that's kind of the key things I design around. And what's more is there's a lot of things you can add in your discovery phase, including you actually using the products to know what's missing and what you can add onto it. And also, if you don't have the product, you can just watch YouTube videos about it, see what people say, and also you can read Reddit. Oftentimes, Reddit is very helpful in designing things for me because you can see what real people say and what they love and what they don't like. All right, and after you've defined everything you need, we can go to the concept phase. So there's things you have always you have to remember in the following stage is that you have to remember the branding if there is one, and you have to always keep your target user in mind so you don't choose the wrong thing to do. And there's a lot of ways to exploring the concepts. My favorite one is collect images because it gives me very direct inspirations. And you can see from the right is some of the images I collected for Seedsigner. There are a lot of very direct stealing from it. Like I basically use the remote control button on the Seedsigner I designed, and this orange cable part, I also take that into my design. And also, there's things I want to say that copy is totally fine. Just don't copy the whole thing. And if you're like very serious on designing things, you won't copy the whole thing because you have to adjust something on your own products to fit your own needs. But it is totally fine that you see something and you love it and just take the form and do your own products. And oftentimes it's very helpful when you're designing things that never existed before. Like Apple, like iPod have never existed before, and a lot of like Bitcoin wallets or Bitcoin miner have never existed before. So it's very helpful to find something to just copy its form and figure out the way for it. And still go back to the concept phase. The other thing I use a lot is sketching, and I believe sketching is a very necessary part, especially if you want to start a conversation with someone to show other people what you think. So this on the right is my sketch I made for Seedsigner, the product I show on the cover. So you can see the sketch is very close to my final image. So oftentimes you can just start your conversation with your sketch. You don't need to jump to rendering and have a very nice image. Just so you know. Also, I do not suggest using AI in this phase because I do feel like AI will influence your judgment a lot. It makes me lost sometimes. I just forget what I wanted to do and everything looks so fancy and so nice. And this is not necessarily helpful. And then after you have a nice sketch and you feel like this looks good and I want to see something more out of it, you can do a design refinement. Just have the nicely rendered image that has color, material, and finish have look more close to a real product. And I do think it's not necessary depending on your goal, but also it can be very good if you want to include the CMF into your design. If you think like, okay, I have to use stainless steel, then you can add the material onto it, except for only have a sketch. And also, another point that I feel is very helpful, at least for me, is I do iterating through refinement. So when I'm building the image, I do find things I want to add in the process. So if you think like me, you can use that rendering to help you figure things out. And so in this phase, I do use AI to help me. So if you know about rendering, sometimes rendering can cost me a lot of time. And what I do with Viscom specifically is I have a very basic product render, have a very bad lighting, have a very bad material. I just have the color for them, and then I put it into Viscom and tell them what I want, and it will have a very nice rendered photo for you, which is very helpful. And then I do want to talk more about Viscom because it can help you explore the form if this is something you're looking for. So, for example, this is another direction I had for Seedsigner. So I basically start with a sketch on the upper left. It's a very simple sketch. And also, if you have a very bad sketching, you can try to ask AI to make it look more clean for you. And what Viscom can do is it can make your sketch into a render. And then after you have a rendered picture, you can use the variation tool to get all the variates, and it can go a lot of different directions you can't imagine. And AI sometimes gives me surprises of the some very nice variations. So as you can see on the right in the center, all the photos are generated by Viscom, and you can basically create as many photos as you want. Just see how the cylinder can fit differently onto the white box, and you can pick one that you think, oh, this looks the best, and you can start doing maybe 3D printing, or maybe just as a conversation starter to ask people, hey, what do you think about this? And so that this is all the design process I had. And I think still the most important thing is to start a conversation with your design, because you can't build your product just all by yourself. At least you have to talk to a factory to know if they're able to manufacture it. So they might want to change your design in some way. They think it's not good to manufacture. So it's very important to talk to people in the early stage to help you build the design as you want. All right, then this is all my sharings. Thank you for keeping up with me. And if we have any questions, now is the time.
Wow, well done. Thank you so much. I've never seen anything like this before. I'd love to open up. I do have questions, but I'd love to open up the floor for any questions. Marco, which hardware wallet did you say you were from again?
Spectre.
Spectre, amazing. So yeah, open up the floor for questions. Go ahead.
So yeah, I would have some. If I'm not sure, did you take any constraints into consideration? So, for example, as you said, Seedsigner is a DIY project. So basically, the inner workings of it are standard parts. So they are given. You cannot reshape them. And at least some of the designs I saw from you, I think they would not be able to be fitted around that part. So is that something that you would consider in later stages then?
No, I actually have a Seedsigner. I have two. They have a bigger one and a small one. I have them at home, and I do design according to their existing design and also the all the parts they have. And at this stage, I think it can fit, but I've never tested out.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That would be, of course, awesome because I really like the design. So first of all, thanks for sharing all that information, and I really like the design. I just had doubts it would work, but that's very cool. Another thing that I have in mind, at least for Spectre, I would also consider one user group to be people that are very concerned about privacy. For example, I mean, Seedsigner was funded by HRF, so human rights activists would be a target group, I guess. And for them,
Mhm.
something like steganography, so hiding that it is actually a Bitcoin device, would be something that's interesting, maybe to them. Is that something that you would also consider, or will you say this is, if you say manufacture, that sounds more like mass producing, or probably not, then this is not the right target group. What was it this intentionally that you left them out, or what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so for me, because Seedsigner is kind of like when you unplug it, just delete everything. So I'm not considering like if people wants to hide it because there's basically no information on it. And another thing is because it can be deassembled. I didn't show this in my image. So basically, I can share my screen again. Oop. Oh, I was sharing. So the orange part on top is basically a lock to lock the front and back white part together. So if you slide it open, it will like open it up and you can take things out from it. If something you want to hide specifically, you can like unplug them and hide it. That's why I was saying it's designed for like very serious about self-custody people, because you can always open it up and do whatever you want with it, and in a very easy way, because the existing Seedsigner is kind of hard to pop it open if you already closed it. And yeah, so that's one. And also, I think if hiding is a very important thing in your product, I would design in a very different way, basically design around how to hide it better. Yeah.
Thank you for the info.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sats, feel free to speak. This is a completely open floor. That's how we roll in the Bitcoin design community.
Yeah, the credit card, I actually don't know because I heard some bad things about the credit card wallets because I just have all the informations on it.
I mean, for that, I think there is both Spectre and Seedsigner offer also to use smart cards to store the seed. And you could basically use the Seedsigner to create and handle it, then throw your Seedsigner away, just take the smart card over the airport, and then wherever you go, you could either reassemble the Seedsigner or get a new one, and you would carry it over the airport, just the smart card. That should work.
Very smart.
Yeah. And also, this designer, when I was designing it, I was designed for 3D printing specifically because of the open source value in it. So you can always 3D print a new case if you need them.
So this would be for the Plus, or would this be the standard Seedsigner, right? For like the successor to this.
Oh yeah,
what
the
you-
one you have.
Okay, that's probably why I misjudged the dimensions. I thought it was the small one. Okay.
I know the small one is. I was thinking because it's too small and it's kind of hard to design with very small things. So also I like big screens.
Yeah, and I just, one thing that Yishi did that she actually did in a very good way, she mentions big screens. We, in terms of even regular, the user experience of like regular wallets, like the screens and the whole onboarding process, very few wallets are paying proper attention to people who have visual disabilities. That's a very large percentage of the population we are excluding right there. And until one day some Bitcoiner goes completely blind, then they'll really start to take it seriously. But no one is actually taking it seriously. And in the Bitcoin design community, we've done a few accessibility days where we like rally the wallets in together, and we, really educate them on good practices with regards to accessibility for people who have visual disabilities. One day we're all going to be older. We're all going to turn 70. We're all going to turn 80. We're still going to want to access our long term savings. How are we going to do that? So we do need to start properly thinking about that. Really properly thinking about that. Because I've also experienced hardware wallets before, and the size of the seed phrases, they are absolutely minuscule. I can picture like a 70-year-old person holding a magnifying glass and needing to magnify it. That's the only way I actually see it working. And I'm sorry, I'm being very blunt, but this is currently what we have in the market right now.
That's super interesting, because I just had a very similar thoughts a couple of weeks ago, and where I also thought, so what can we add to Spectre? What should we add? And I stumbled upon also the same thought that, okay, we have a big screen. Who can use this? Blind people. Or and if you're completely blind, you probably would also need some audio assistance, right? That you can plug in something with your earphones or something. So that's very interesting. Maybe this is something which we could connect over, because I'm also currently not working on it, but in the future, definitely sooner or later, I want to pick that topic up for
Yeah, we've never really looked at the redesign of hardware wallets in the Bitcoin design community. Yishi is literally leading the whole show here, because she's the only person who's doing this right now, like I think in the whole ecosystem. So I think there's a lot that we can learn from her, and I think that there's a lot that she can do in the ecosystem as well. What do you think, Marco?
So in general, I think definitely we should try to connect. But on the people with eye impairment, especially, we also had some calls on X with actual blind Bitcoiners. So there are blind Bitcoiners already, and they are having trouble. And then they, as far as I understood, would, for example, prefer something like voice or reading out the text that you have and something like that. So here, on the one hand, Spectre would be good because they already have an audio jack, which you could use if you program it right. But for Seedside, I think what I like is the buttons, right? So then you can more easily select the menu things. So definitely, let's connect on this offline and see when and how we maybe can progress on this topic.
Amazing. There we go. We have another call coming out of this one, Yishi. I hope you're ready for all the things coming your way.
I'm very ready.
Yishi, what do you think, having looked at many hardware wallets, what do you think is, definitely missing in the user experience of hardware wallets from a very like high level overview?
I think from my perspective, I think we just need so many different kinds, like so many different ways to interpret how a Bitcoin wallet can be.
Hmm.
Because I'm thinking about like when we just have telephone
Hmm.
and we have all the different kind of like telephones that looks like Mickey Mouse or something. They were there. You remember that face? Like your
Hmm.
phone is literally a thing, that a decorative thing, and that's like kind of the exploding phase of a telephone because it's a very new thing and everyone is trying to interpret in their own way.
Yeah.
And eventually people or the market will pick some directions that they like the most or that work the most in the market. And I think that's a very natural way that people this how to figure out a new things and how they want it to be looked um, in the history. So I think this is what Bitcoin Wallet needs. And now I think they are just trying to look very clean, very simple, very minimalistic. And this is something I think it's not only boring, but also it's not good to explore things because definitely Bitcoin Wallet is something I'd say in the next generation. So I do think it has to have something different comparing to what's the existing product right now. So we need more designers to think about it.
For sure. Maybe you'll be even educating them and giving them workshops. Seriously.
Hopefully.
Because how many hardware wallets are there in the ecosystem at the moment, like open source Bitcoin hardware wallets? Do you guys know?
Open source.
Do you mean do it yourself or really open source? Because this is quite a difference, right?
Oh, I don't know the difference actually. What's the difference?
Okay, so at least for how I would so do it yourself means you have to or can get all the parts yourself off the shelf. You don't have to get to a specific supplier.
Mm,
And this is basically, I'm aware of Seedsigner, Spectre, Crux, and there's now somebody doing something new as well, but I forgot the name.
mhm.
But actually, most reputable hardware wallets are open source in the sense that you can inspect the software and the hardware design, so you can check them for if they have any backdoors or something like in there, right? If you have a hardware wallet that is not open source in the sense that you can inspect it, don't buy it, basically. So it's most of them. And in general, I think there's probably 10 to 20 hardware wallet vendors that I'm aware of in the area.
Wow.
I can post a chat in the chat site where you have a good overview of them.
Mhm.
Just a second here. You have really an overview.
Hardware wallets.
Mm.
And for the next, like Yishi is literally, helping us out with her skills in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm super grateful that she's been very gracious to dedicate her time to this because it's not everyone, has the time or the patience to do this. I think next steps for Yishi, and we've already discussed it because we've been like working together, is to go on one or two podcasts speaking about the hardware wallet designer experience. And then the next phase actually is to do research in the Bitcoin ecosystem across all the wallets and really look at like best practices, what's being done really well, what's being done not so well, and maybe publishing this as a report with design recommendations. So I've actually encouraged her to apply for a grant for her work because she should be paid for her work. So yeah, Yishi is literally at the beginning of a very beautiful journey. How does it feel?
I don't know.
Sorry, but it feels like I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, everything feels very unknown, and I just don't know what I'm gonna be facing. You know, never been on a podcast before, even though I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I don't know what's it gonna be.
Just be yourself, right? Don't worry, you're here. Like we're all super chill. Bitcoiners is super chill. Does anyone else have any questions for Yishi actually, or anything they want to add? Floor is open. Harry Sats V's here too. Nice to see you, V.
Hello, I see you. Like this is really great project. I really liked it. So yeah,
Thank you.
Amazing. Oh, there's some background noise there. Okay. Harry Satz, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, hi everyone. So
Yeah.
I've been following the case study stuff, and I think it's a good presentation. My question is, I'm aware of Seedsigner in the current product. I'm aware that Seedsigner is currently being used. So I want to know, is this design redesign, or let me say this case study has been implemented or not? Did you get my question, please?
I'm not sure if I get the question right.
I think he asked, Harry, I think you asked if it's going to be implemented. Like, are they going to actually use this design?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So it is not done. It just have an image basically, and I do need to test it out on the real Seedsigner and try to assemble them and adjust all the details for it. And if it's done, I'll definitely post it on any community that has Seedsigner users, and basically you can download it and 3D print it yourself, so you don't need to buy it. And that's my goal of this project. I just want to contribute to the community and also building my portfolio as well.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Much.
Wow. So if I understand correctly, like, because the seed signer is something that you put together yourself like Legos,
Mhm.
you could download the document that if whatever you provide, send it to a 3D printer, and then get the other stuff from seed signer, get the 3D print and put it all together.
Yeah. Or you're building your own Seedsigner, like buying all the parts by yourself.
V says she'd like to participate. What would you like to participate in, V?
So I just had like I just wanted to add something. I don't know if it's possible in a seat signer though, but currently all the devices, hardware devices, they're trying to be more like normal devices, like uh phone or something, so that you don't get caught at the like there has been some instances that bitcoiners have been caught on the airport while they're traveling, that what is this. We usually used to say that it's a pen drive or something, but like now people have also, like they also know that this is a seed signer, or you are holding your bitcoins in this. So there are more projects I've seen, like there's Cryobrick, who um, they're trying to make the this to store your bitcoins into a like a feature phone. So I don't know if it's possible, like if we can make it in like this hardware, but I think it would be really helpful for everyone if the devices don't seem like hardware devices. It it's like a normal device that anyone can carry around, and without the danger of being like that anyone can ask them for their bitcoins.
Actually, that can be a very interesting project if you're really trying to do it. Like for Seedsigner, you can make it more like a controller, for game controller, because it has all the buttons on it.
Mm-hmm.
And in my reference image, there is a like game controller I was referencing. And basically, if you want, you can go to that direction and copy that, and they will think, okay, looks like a controller, right? And maybe you're like a big gamer, you like to bring a controller everywhere or something.
If you're willing to share the link I just posted, there is already one company selling that, something like that, for Seedsigner. They have it's not very nice looking, so I think it could definitely be improved. It could look much better, but they have something that tries to look like a game controller.
Oops, something went wrong. All right. Wait, let me share the screen.
Maybe it
All right.
can be so like as
The second link, the second one.
This one? Blocks.
No, in the chat there should be
Oh,
another
there's
link posted
another
there.
link. Sorry. Try to see that.
Oh, wow.
Yep, this is what I'm talking about. It totally can be a controller, and people won't know, especially if you can 3D printing them. You can basically do whatever you want.
Which brings me to a very specific use case of human rights defenders. So, having interviewed and spoken to human rights defenders, sometimes to get money across the border, they're needing to literally strap physical cash to themselves just to bring money to their families. They are targets of, they're under speculation. They're being so really being able, coming back to what V said, really being able to design something that literally doesn't even look like a wallet, is going to help these people to be able to, self custody. This is the first one that I've seen that exists on the market, which is super cool. But yeah, definitely worth thinking about.
There's also one that looks like a phone, like a telephone, that I found very interesting
You're
because
probably talking about foundation, right? The foundation, the
Let
passport.
me-
That one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. I think that one's very interesting because I really thought it's a phone when I first saw it.
Wow, super fun.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, that we need more designers to design all kinds of different Bitcoin wallets, and we can choose which one is the one we like the best, because you really have to use them before you know what you want.
Yishi, after having used different hardware wallets in combination with the app, whether that's like a desktop app or on a phone, because they're all very different, how are you finding the connection process between like from the get-go, like let's say you just USB it in and then you have it showing up on the app? How have you found that experience in general, like moving from the physical device and now you have a screen in front of you and now like what's going on? So how have you found that in general with some of them that you've used?
I have to say, as an industrial designer who really obsessed with physical things, I don't like having a hardware connecting to a software, and that's the only way it can work. I
Oh,
like things that, like, it's the device itself and it can use by itself. You don't have to connect to any computer to do it, if it's possible. I mean, I would like to do it. No.
Technically impossible if you want, especially for the general design of how and why do-it-yourself hardware wallets work. I just presented for the Plan B Academy, and I can send you the slides. If Mo, I didn't find Yishi on Discord. I'm not sure. How can I connect with you, Yishi?
what's the best way to connect with you, Ishi?
Good question. How about
LinkedIn or
wouldn't be on
I
there.
can do email if that works.
Sure. Or do you have any messaging app? Any?
I do Signal.
Signal. Perfect.
Yeah.
Then I'll get you my Signal contact. A second. And we can exchange a bit more.
amazing.
Give me one moment.
I just need to find out where do I get mine.
All right, I'll share my Signal link. So anyone who wants to connect me in the chats, feel free.
Cool. Thank you.
And we're talking about the experience, so it's not
Yeah.
possible to not having a software on computer.
So
I
is
really
it
wish.
not technically possible, Marco? Can you not just have everything on the one screen and actually?
Not
What if the
not
device
really.
accesses the internet?
Yeah. At some point, you need to get your transaction to the Bitcoin network, and the Bitcoin network is on the internet, right? So you have to somehow connect it to the internet at some point.
So the only thing is the internet connection.
Yes, but that's quite important.
So would that be designable, Yishi, like an internet connection?
Yeah, if it's
But that would defeat the main purpose why you have a hardware wallet, right? In the beginning, you had everything in one software, right? The original Bitcoin software from Satoshi was one software that was a wallet, a miner, a node, everything in one software. And over time, that was taken apart to solve different purposes, to isolate the different concerns a bit more. And especially the wallet part was taken out quite early. And then you had initially these hot wallets, right? You had on your on your mobile phone, on your desktop, you had wallets that were connected to the internet all the time, which is opening you up for attacks from the internet all the time in the background. And that's why hardware wallets were developed, to isolate the secret material, right? The keys that protect your Bitcoins from being accessed by anybody else, to a specific device that is not connected to the internet.
Gotcha.
That's the whole purpose why you have a hardware wallet in the first place. If you were to connect it to the internet, you can just use your smartphone. That's way more comfortable than that.
That's true.
Gotcha. Okay, but what if you could turn off the internet connection? So what if you could just turn it off the same way you turn off it on the phone? Wouldn't it be safer that way?
It will depend on who your user is. At least the security aware people probably will not accept that.
No, okay.
I mean, there is, for example, Seedsigner. One of the big advantages of Seedsigner, especially, is that it's air gapped, right? So that it means you do not even have to electronically connect it to your desktop. You can exchange via QR codes or SD cards. And some hardcore users say even the USB connection to your computer is already too dangerous, right?
Gotcha.
So, of course, it will depend on your user base, but at least the people that currently use Seedsigner probably won't like that.
Gotcha. You see, the thing is, I'm gonna speak very bluntly. The first time I ever used a hardware wallet, I felt like someone had just given me alien technology and placed it in my hand. So, if we want more adoption of normal everyday people, we need this to feel extremely easy and extremely accessible. You know,
Totally
because
agreed.
this is
Totally
like, if
agreed.
this is what we refer to as the way to save, and to save in the most safe way, then if we give people these devices that just feels like alien technology, it's so out of reach, out of so many people.
Totally agree. I mean, I'm giving lectures for adults in the evening sometimes, and to teach them how to do self-custody. And I mean, for me, it's okay. I'm fluent in this by now, but it's really surprising at what small steps they start stumbling and say, why, how? And this is one of the reasons why, for example, in Spectre currently, what I have a proof of concept now is that we have an introduction tool where you have help buttons everywhere, that every step can get explained. And that if the device should be so smart that if it detects that it's powered up the first time, it will start with a introduction screen to tell you what to do and guide the user through everything. So you're absolutely right. We have to improve this. And the question really is, what can we do without, on the other hand, infringing the security by connecting to the internet back again?
Totally.
This is going to be quite interesting.
Yishi, what do you think of this idea? Because actually, I was on a panel discussion last night with Bitcoin Dadas with Marcel on how AI meets Bitcoin. And one of the things we spoke about is how could AI help to improve the user experience, specifically the user experience, not like the AI doing the transactions and stuff for you. So Yishi, what do you think? What if there was like an AI powered tool that helped a normie onboard themselves to a hardware wallet? So it's like literally your customer service agent for your hardware wallet, walking you through, making you feel safe, not making you feel like if you do something wrong, you're gonna like lose everything. What do you think of that idea? Like a bot that you would chat to that would have literally all of the data, all of the information, to keep your to self custody. And that would be like for a specific wallet. So Seedsigner would have their own, Spectre would have their own. These are all different like chatbots for a specific hardware wallet. And tell me if I'm not making any sense, because yeah. Have we lost Yishi? Maybe we have.
I see a red icon, connection poor. Yeah.
Yeah, she's having some internet issues. Oh no. Alex Lee, you've been very quiet. Do you want to chime in? Or maybe you're working and just listening in also good. Yeah, Yishi's good.
Yeah, I don't have any strong opinions. As someone who has used a crap ton of hardware wallets, I feel like there a lot of people in the Bitcoin world focus very hard on the niche cypherpunk, like the really really hardcore people who are super paranoid about connecting to the internet and making sure every component is open source and tested 85 times. And I think a lot of people in the Bitcoin community forget that, most Bitcoin users are like, I don't know, like that your average 30-year-old who buys their wallet on Amazon or Best Buy and maybe sends 1 or 2 Bitcoin transactions a year and just wants it to be easy to use. So that's my main point.
Total underserved market. Completely underserved, that market. Totally.
I do feel like the process of like onboarding a hardware is way too complex. At least for me, because I'm pretty new to Bitcoin, but also I really feel like that very complex process is somewhat giving people a sense of safe, because they're like, okay, it's very complex, and I'm making sure like all my thing is in a very secure place because I've done so many steps to make sure it's safe, right? So I'm feeling the experience itself is giving that feeling too. But on the other hand, I think it's because it's more like decentralized technology. So it's very important to like getting through all the very complex process, because you're basically getting your rights and you're responsible on your own hand instead of giving it to someone who just give you a checkbox and say, okay, I agree to everything and I can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very complex question to how to make the process of onboarding more like easier in some way, but I do think the process is necessary, especially for Bitcoin. And I do see that, at least for me, it's education of what you can take back and what you have given up to people in the other platform or in the other system. Yeah, maybe you can think it that way. Like it's a class about walk you through what you have given up to other people to decide for you.
That's an interesting way of putting it. So you would like compare, and maybe that could be in your research. Okay, Yishi, the research proposal is coming together. So maybe what you could put together in your research proposal is looking at it from like a high level overview, like these are all the wallets in the ecosystem. This is this is the level of difficulty in terms of the user experience. And this is the education necessary to improve the user experience. This is the design necessary to improve the user experience. So you have these pillars, right, of recommendations at an ecosystem level. Yeah. Yishi's going to be working in Bitcoin very, very soon. I just want to see more women in the space. The space needs more women, 100%. So
I agree.
yeah. What do you think the impact of having more women from a design and development perspective would have an impact on the ecosystem in general?
I think, first of all, everything will be prettier than what it is now. And I there's nothing else I want to say like necessary will happen if there's more women. maybe like the process will be more considerate, but it's not. I think Bitcoin community for now, they're doing a lot of very considerate things already. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen if there's more women.
Yeah, same, same. Does anyone else have anything to add? Oh, we're at the hour now. We can just slowly wrap it up. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I did have a question. Like I had a wild idea. I just wanted to ask one question about it. So, how much time does a seed signer takes to like how much time it will take me to build it? Like if I have all the pieces, how much time does it take to create it?
I think it really depends on if you're starting from buying all the parts by yourself and do it all by yourself, and if you're just buying like kits and you can assemble it yourself, it should be around 5 to 10 minutes, at least for the existing products. But it really depends on how your skill is on assembling things. It's kind of hard. Some parts, it's kind of hard to assemble, um, but it's still very quick to do it.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm if I have it and I know how to assemble it, then how much time would I take it to assemble it?
I'd say 5 to 10 minutes. Not very hard to assemble. It also it's very simple advice. Very simple device. So
Mm-hmm.
not too much parts.
Okay. So I just had this idea that we were talking about like it's like a Lego. So how about we just make it like look like a Lego box? Like it's a Lego box, and whenever you want to assemble it, just assemble it. And you can just put it in your like if you have a child, you can just put it in her bag that it's her playing thing, and like you can just travel with it.
Mm,
Very interesting.
that's a very nice direction to go.
Very interesting. Good one. Wow. Yishi, how has this been for you?
It's very nice. Nice to have conversations with everyone.
Yeah, super grateful for your time and your education here for all of us. Marco, you're nodding your head. You know, this just hasn't been done in the Bitcoin ecosystem. She's literally at the forefront of something that's not being done. You know, everyone's focusing, while the whole ecosystem is focusing on the user experience of the wallets, the design of the wallets itself, the applications. Let's not forget that if we want people to see Bitcoin as like long-term savings, and if we want them to self-custody, then the user experience of these hardware wallets, it needs to be amazing, easy, accessible. So Yishi, there's a very long road ahead of you if you do decide to follow this path. And you could possibly have a lot of people knocking at your door for consultancy advice. So yeah, thank you for teaching us, for educating us.
Thank you for listening.
And looking forward to seeing you on some podcasts.
Okay, I'll try. Try to be good.
All right, with that, we can wrap it up. Any last wise words of wisdom, Yishi, that you'd like to share, maybe?
Um, just go create things.
All right, let me stop the recording.
Thank you, everyone.